Look, let's get it out there. Allison yelled at me because she said I need to do a better job doing introductions for my videos. Let's start with, how do you buy a home in Utah? There's 5 basic steps. 1, locate an agent and lender. 2, start looking at homes. 3, putting an offer in on a home. 4, going under contract for that home. And lastly, 5, closing on the home. So let me know if anybody else has any questions. Let's get into it. So your first step to buying a home in Utah is locating a really good real estate agent and a really good lender. A couple of the basic ways you can do this would be putting in Google, who is the best real estate agent in Logan, Utah, or looking at a bunch of real estate agents' social media and seeing people that you really seem to connect with. Or 3, which is my favorite, talk to your friends and family who have bought or sold homes in the last 12 months and ask them about their real estate agent. If they said that they're the best one that they've ever seen, get their information. Once you have 2 or 3 people who seem like they're really good real estate agents, sit down and interview them. I know it's a little crazy talking to more than one person, but you're going to be spending probably more than $300,000. So my advice is talk to a couple of people about it. There are 2 basic traits of a real estate agent. 1 would be professionalism skills, and 2 would be communication. Starting with professionalism skills, when you're talking to them, interviewing them, ask them hard questions. What is the real estate market doing right now? What are the markets that have improved the most in value over the last 1 year, 10 years, and whatnot? What is your tactic to locate the best deal on a home? Or what negotiation tactic do you have to try to get me the best deal on a home? You should be asking these questions, and they should be having some kind of answers for all of them. People who are full-time in real estate deal with these questions almost every day. So they should have an answer that not only informs you, but also feel very well educated in. Next would be communication. It doesn't matter how good a real estate agent is, if you don't understand what's going on, the process is going to be stressful. So find an agent that you're comfortable communicating with, can explain things to you in a really effective and easy manner. And lastly, they seem to make the process seem a little bit stressful. Let me be very clear. Buying a home is incredibly stressful. And so having people in your corner who take that stress out is going to be hugely useful. The last little bonus piece that I have to put in here is that your lender is the one that's going to be able to pre-qualify you to buy a home. A real estate agent is going to let you into a home, but a lender is going to be the one that tells you how much you're actually able to afford. So talk to them and get that process started. If you're wondering who I recommend, Natalia Meyerhoffer with Mountain View Mortgage or Emilie Jensen with Intercap Lending. Why don't you interview both of them and try to test the skills that I've asked you to try in interviewing people. So step number 2 is going and looking at houses. You've gotten pre-approved, you've chosen a real estate agent, and it's time to go take a look. What you should really be doing is focusing on what is the price range of homes you want to be looking at, what is the age of the homes you want to be looking at, and what is the area of the homes you want to be looking at. What are specific needs for that house? Do you need a bathtub that doesn't have a shower attached to it? Do you need a yard that's fairly large? These are questions you don't have to explain why these things are important to you, but you do have to explain the things that are important to you so that your agent can go out and find those homes. So you've informed me the age, the price, the area that you want to find a home, and Allison's quit yelling at me so much, so I finally have some time to find you a house. I send you the listings, you say, okay, I want to go look at this guy. Need a Cobito, we go there and we start gandering. There's 2 more basic attributes of what you're actually looking at in a home. The first one I would say is your 10-year test. What does living in this home for 10 years actually look like? Is the furnace up to date? Does the roof need to be replaced? Are you going to be able to grow into it? Is your mortgage payment going to be manageable? Focus on what does this home look like over the next 10 years? How many costs am I going to have to really sink into it? What is the maintenance and home repairs that I'm going to have to make? How much work is the yard going to be? Focus on what this home effectively does for you over the next 10 years and the costs behind it. The next piece of it is, how well does this home actually function for you? Think about, how does this home do what you need it to do? Let's say you need a backyard for a dog. Cool, great. Is there a wall where you can put a dog door? Is the yard actually big enough for your dog to be able to run around in there? Is it an area that you're able to take your dog out and go and walk them without having to go to a park? Start focusing on these questions and how functionally the home will work for you. My last biggest piece of advice for this is go and look at the home at midnight, in the morning, at noon, at 5 p.m., during high traffic or whatever. You should be focused on seeing what this home is actually like and what it can do for you. Those are the 2 attributes that I say you should be looking at a home. What does it look like over the next 10 years? Does it functionally do every single thing that you need it to do? Another little bonus that I'm going to throw in here, make sure that your mortgage payment is manageable. If you own a home for 10 years, statistically it's going to increase in value. But the biggest piece of that is, can you make that 10 years? Don't take on too much risk and realize that you could lose your job, times could become hard, and have a backup plan for those things. But you're looking at homes, and here we go. So we went and looked at 20 houses, and you finally found one that you really like. That brings us to step number 3, putting in an offer. And there's 4 basic attributes of putting an offer to be aware of: earnest money, financing, price, and timelines. When we're talking about earnest money, it's basically you putting money somewhere on hold so that over time it becomes less and less refundable towards you. If you get to the end and go under contract and close on the house, that money can be put towards a down payment or your closing costs. But the goal of it is that you've got skin in the game that over time becomes less and less refundable to you. With the expectation being that over time, it is more likely you will stay under contract because it'll be harder and harder for you to get that money back. Did my shirt change color? Yes, it did. After earnest money, we start going into financing. The type of financing you're going to use to try to purchase the home. That could be VA, FHA, conventional, whatever and whatnot. Understanding the financing that you're going to want to use is going to make it so that you can structure your offer around that financing. Asking for closing costs, other items like that. So talk to your lender, and that needs to be a big piece of discussion for putting in an offer. The third part's going to be price, which financing directly puts into, but understanding price and the different variables is super important. One, if the home's been on the market one day and you're offering $40K under list price, you're probably not going to get it. Two, looking at homes that have been on the market 30 to 60 days gives you a lot more negotiation power than homes that have been on the market less time. And another general tip, homes that have multiple offers on them takes away all of your ability to negotiate, because if they don't go with you, they've got other options. So these are some of the larger variables I look at with price, and understanding what the price area that you should offer in, and then on top of that, the things that you can ask for with on top of price. Lastly, we've got dates. The basic ones are seller's disclosures is when the seller's going to give you all the information on their home. Due diligence is the period of time that you have to inspect the home. Financing and appraisal is the time to get your financing shored up with your lender, and then on top of that, get the appraisal back that the home appraises for the correct value. And then lastly, settlement. So this process usually takes about 4 weeks. I've completed transactions as little as 18 days, and I put offers for 45 days for settlement. So talk to your real estate agent. They'll give you a good idea of where you should end up. Going into number 4, which is going under contract. This is when the work really does start. First off, you're going to be getting the seller's disclosures. And if it's in an HOA, you'll be getting the rules and regs. But by the seller's disclosures deadline, they need to start giving you all that supporting documentation to say what they know about the home, what the objective problems that could be with the home, and general information around the home. After the seller's disclosures, you go into due diligence. This is the time period where you're going to be hiring an inspector. I advise nook and cranny. You're going to be trying to figure out any kind of inspections that you should be doing. Maybe there was a problem with the furnace, you need to hire an HVAC inspector. Maybe the plumbing looks like it's really old and you want to get a plumber. This is your moment in time to try to back out for any of those reasons and typically be able to keep all of your earnest money. Your due diligence period is your best moment in time to back out and most likely keep all of your earnest money because it gives you the most rights. After your due diligence deadline, you need to be much more careful about exiting the contract and keeping all of your earnest money. A typical real estate purchase contract is going to make it so your due diligence is your best time to back out. But before financing and appraisal, you need to have all of your lender prepared documents ready, and your lender pretty much needs to give you a thumbs up and say, you're good to go, man, don't even worry about it. We'll be able to get you the loan amount pretty easily. You get that money transferred to the escrow company. And then by the appraisal deadline, you need to have a third party look at the property, come back and tell you, this is what we think the value of the property is. If the appraisal comes in low and it's before the appraisal deadline and the sellers decide not to lower their price at all, then you can decide to back out and keep all of your earnest money according to a typical Utah real estate purchase contract. This brings us to the last date, which is settlement. This is the date you got to go in, close on the home, sign docs, and call it good. So that is going under contract, and there's a lot more pieces to it, but hopefully gives you a general understanding of it. Next, we go into actually closing on the home. Closing happens about 24 hours after settlement, after you've signed documents. This is the escrow company going in, making sure all the paperwork's filed with the government, and so they recognize that it's your home. Before this date, and when you know that you're going to close for sure, you need to start calling the 4 basic companies. City, which is sewer and water; electrical, which is actually Logan, but in other places Rocky Mountain Power; the gas, Dominion Energy; and you got to let the post office know where to forward your letters to. Talk to your real estate agent just in case there's some other pieces for it, but it's just a good thing to be aware of. Also, start planning your actual move and the timelines around that. So those 5 basic steps: finding a real estate agent, looking at homes, putting in an offer, going under contract, and then lastly, closing on the home are the 5 basic steps of buying a home in Utah. Please just realize that this presentation usually takes me about an hour and a half to 2 hours sitting down with somebody. So this base knowledge that you're receiving from this video really should be expanded by the real estate agent that you know, and this will hopefully make it so that you're just a little bit ahead. Please give this video a like and subscribe. Allison otherwise is going to yell at me and say that I'm a terrible YouTuber if you don't, so I would really appreciate that if you do. I'm just kidding. Allison's a super nice gal. Other than that, thanks for watching and have a great day.